So your show is kind of difficult to categorize when you really think about it. It's part comedy, thriller, suspense. It feels the old and young. How do you guys think about your show?
We don't. I mean, honestly, we know that there's a narrative that we want to tell a story every week, but as far as like trying to think that we're plugging what we're doing into any kind of framework that exists outside of the level of our interest and the level of our skill and the level of our recklessness, that's just what we're following, and we recognize that that's, I think, what has the veracity that makes people feel involved in the process that we're going through.
I like to think about it, we get kudos for being educationally based and inspiring young people and so on. I like to think of it as play. Like, that's how animals learn. It's how young people learn. And that's all we're doing. We're playing. Of course, we're doing it, like Adam says, with a beginning, middle, and end. We're doing it methodically so that we can actually tell a story and those kinds of things. But it's really just us playing and satisfying our curiosity about things. We explore, we do things that we find interesting. There's no other, the show is not scripted. It's not, it's pretty much we find something that we find interesting and just play with it. We go for it.
There's an interesting process that happens often on the show, a little argument that's pretty much repeated almost weekly, where we have a process we're about to explore, but we haven't touched it yet. We want to try and film everything as it happens to get honest reactions. We will do, reverse angles and reshoots for things that are important or where we want to get an important piece of exposition out. But we'll have a situation like pulling a tablecloth out from under a vase of flowers, where do we really, in order to know how the next 2 days might progress, one of us needs to do just 15 minutes of research, and we'll, our director, Alice, will be like, well, I want to film it. No, you don't. Only 15 minutes. If I play with this thing, I'll know what the next 3 days are going to look like. But I have no idea yet. So there is this little tug and play, and we just, often it's going down to the shop for 10 minutes and going tick, tick, boom, boom, boom. Oh, okay, great. Now I know how this is probably going to play out. And even if I'm wrong, I have an idea about what the parameters might be. And yeah, it's playing every day.
I was curious if any of you guys have ever seen a little UK show called Brainiac, because for some reason I watch you guys and I think about Brainiac at the same time, and what your thoughts are on that.
I thought Brainiac sucked. I thought it was funny at times, and I love the host. I love the guy from Top Gear. I love Top Gear.
Yeah.
But Brainiac was often like, they took material that was already great and they made it terrible by making it stupid, by not following something so that it made sense. I would watch it and I wouldn't understand why they were going from one place to another, why they test 3 things in 3 different ways and call it somehow valid across the board. It actually enraged me when I watched it.
I didn't watch it.
I watched it. But yeah, it was, they had certain segments where, you had buxom women in bikinis.
There's
doing
nothing
science.
wrong with that.
Yeah. But it sort of distracted from the core of what the show is supposed to be about, which is the science.
You hear that, Carrie?
I have never showed up in a bikini.
Actually, technically you have during Shark Week.
Oh, right.
That's
And
because you were
That was
actually...
science.
we painted it green, too.
Oh, yeah, no silver.
Silver.
If you're swimming, it's appropriate.
But see, it's equal because
You're walking
you're
around the
You
also
wore one.
appearing.
He
That's why
wore
Jamie
one.
wears a bikini.
We've all appeared actually in less clothing.
I don't think that was the question, Grant.
Human guinea pig, that's what it is.
Those are loud thoughts, Greg.
I got to use the inside voice.
So you seemingly all get along really well, and you film your season, you spend a lot of time together. When you're not doing that, you socialize and interact, call each other up, hey, let's have dinner. I mean, how is that
Sometimes.
relationship?
Sometimes?
Yeah, sometimes we hang out.
There's a when you're doing something like this and you're on this show, it's been around for 7, 8 years. The success has just exceeded all of our expectations. There's nobody that really knows what is going on at this part than the 5 of us, and that is a bond that we share, even if there's a point at which we're not getting along. It's something that we understand the others know. So we've all lived in each other's pockets. We've all seen each other at our absolute best and our absolute worst. And honestly, we don't do much socializing outside the show, but what we do is, born of some real team building and bond.
But we've known each other for many years before this show. It's not like we're a science show boy band where they put everybody together. I mean, we were friends before this. Yeah, but see, I worked with Tori at ILM, worked with Adam at ILM. Jamie would hire me on nights and weekends to work on projects for him. I mean,
Grant used to do an impression of both Jamie and me at ILM.
Nice.
No. Not with them standing here.
Yeah, I think one of the key things that works in particular, I mean, I work obviously with Adam more than I work with the rest of the team. And what makes everything hold together is respect. You know, we don't have to get along, we don't have to like each other, and it's sort of, it's a job, and the most important thing is respect, which we have. I think that, you know, I mean, that's pretty much, it's real simple, and that's the way it works.
I want to actually go and even further with that and say it extends all the way to the crew. The turnover on MythBusters is glacial. Many of the people we've had have been with us almost since the inception of the show. Jamie's and my director, Alice, has been on the show since before we were on the show. And the crew gets just as thrilled about the results as we do, all the way down. I mean, and that, you know, that makes doing the show a really deep pleasure, honestly.
How many people does it take to make the show?
Crew's about 23 people right now in San Francisco. That's the production crew, and then there's an edit crew in Australia.
Yeah,
and then,
on the ground, it's about a crew of a dozen people for each of the separate teams. And so it really is quite minimal. It's you know, director, camera, sound, some assistants, some researchers, things like that, and that's it.
You know, when I talk to people who are on other television shows, they're always shocked by how few people we work with.
not only that, but I've had several times people from other TV shows come on our set and spend a couple of hours with us and go, "You guys always get along this well?" We're like, "Yeah, what's it like on?" We're like, "Not like this."
And the other thing that's interesting, in most shows, they will work for 6 months and then have a hiatus. With the way we work, we have to do all the work ourselves, so there's a lot of time building, so we don't really have a lot of time off. So it's pretty much we work the entire year. We'll have breaks in between, but it's not like a regular television show. It's like we are working the entire year, which is it's pretty rare for a television show.
So would you say this is your life?
Pretty much.
Now, one of the saving graces is that because we work, I think we shoot 47 weeks a year at this point, because we work like that, we keep relative bankers hours. We're home by 5:30 or 6 every day, and because if we weren't, we'd all go insane.
Yeah, it didn't used to be that way,
No.
but it is now.
We tried to film the first season 6-day weeks, 10, 11 hours a day.
Oh,
We
10,
survived-
11 minimum.
We survived 21 weeks like that. This is before you guys. This is the season 1. We survived 21 weeks of 6-day weeks, and at that point we all bought BB guns and we're just shooting each other in the face. It's the only thing that would take the rage edge off.
Yeah, a key thing to keep in mind as far as the dynamics of the crew and the way that we work, the size of the team and everything else, is that it's an experimentation kind of process. It's not a demonstration. We can't set something up, like tell somebody to do this, because we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know how to deal with it or how to tell them to deal with it. We can't delegate that. It's about us getting in there and following through the experiment and seeing what happens. So the crew has to be really tight and compact and fast. We have to be extremely organized and efficient, and it works.
And our shooting ratio has gone down over the years. From the beginning, where it was probably 10-1, I think we're shooting at almost like a 3-1 at this point. 3 hours of footage for 3 or 4 hours of actual tape shot for an episode. I mean, it's like we are, we really know what's going to happen. There are almost no bloopers anymore because we know when something interesting is about to go on.